Hi, welcome to 30 Frames a Second, and I'm your host, Greg Lassiter. We have an amazing show for you this week, and today, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Into the fact where the victim is now the perpetrator and the perpetrator is now the victim. And that just...
Hi, we're at 30 Frames a Second this week, and I have a really great guest. His name is Matt Fahey. He's an Emmy Award-winning producer from a show called The Deadliest Catch. I know everybody has heard about The Deadliest Catch, and that job is probably one of the most dangerous jobs in the world. We're going to show some clips, and Matt's going to be our guest. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with that.
You see him? Hang on!
Just seconds after dropping into the water.
You're pulling towards him! Turn the part! Come on!
The tides began sucking Jake Anderson towards the Cornelia Marie's stern. Neither skipper could find him.
Keep backing. I'm on your port side. I'm gonna come around to your port side.
Keep your eyes on him!
Were you guys nervous when you went in?
I was nervous, you know, it wasn't even that but there's still like, you know, waves are coming and knocking you in the face.
It's probably a different perspective looking up at your boat.
I know.
You see
it's in the bottom.
Water line, you're like,
Wow.
yeah,
Most people don't go in the water purposely.
I can't see him.
You see him? I got you a little bit out of my sight and I started losing my mind. And you get that rush and you feel like man overboard, and it's a real deal.
yeah, it felt real.
It felt real.
Yeah, it felt real.
I don't see him.
Keep your eyes on him! You see him? There he is! Hold on, Jake! Watch him!
Keep that bag under your arm! Go, go, go! And your old man, you know, I mean, we were talking a long time trying to figure that out, just how the tide was working and, you know, exactly how we were going to do it before we did it, but it's not done till it's done. Back up, Zach!
Okay, pull him!
It was scarier when Sig picked me up. And when Northwestern pulled up alongside me,
Get tight, Edgar!
you know, he could have possibly drifted over me.
He's going toward the prop! Get it! Don't let him get near the prop!
It's scary, you know. I mean, I was just as scared for Jake just watching it, you know.
Look it up, Jake!
When you're pulling a pot, it's stationary, you know, and then all of a sudden we try to get you guys, and you know they don't got that long.
You only
and
got really one chance.
boy, one chance, you're dealing with a life here, so.
You can bang the pot against the boat, but
Yeah.
Got him!
Yeah! All right.
Oh my God, that is no fun.
All right, man. That went real smooth.
I wouldn't want to do it any rougher than that.
No way.
You got a good kid.
You took good care of him. I appreciate it.
Well, that was interesting. I don't know. There was a few calls to home going, "Hey, Dad, when am I coming home?"
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Bottom line, I mean, was the grass greener?
I had fun on your guys' boat, you know.
But there's no place like home, right?
Nobody
I'd
wants to
definitely
say.
rather be at home, yeah.
Yeah.
Was the grass greener? I mean, it was a lot better over there.
Wow. That's incredible. So As often said that being on the Bering Sea is probably the most dangerous sea to be on anyway. Now, these guys from the Deadliest Catch make a living at this, and it is the dangerous job. Now, my thing is to be a producer and a director who actually goes out on the ship with these guys, so they're in the mix, they're working just like these guys are working. So it's dangerous for them too. Today's guest, Matt Fahey, who's an Emmy award-winning producer, who was on one of the boats that they featured on the Deadliest Catch. And he has an amazing story to tell us. He couldn't be here because he missed his flight in Alaska to get here. So we're going to do his interview over the phone. Now, Matt, if you look up, Matt was out on a boat, and I'm not going to tell you too much of his story. Not if you watch Deadliest Catch, you'll see that some of the, not only the people that work on the boat, but the producers get sick, seasick, because we're looking at 40-foot swells, and if you're not cut out to do that, you will get motion sickness. As you can see, a lot of these guys got motion sick. Some even had to be helicoptered out by the Coast Guard because they got sick on it. Now, Matt was on the boat. I can't recall the boat. He would tell us that not only he got sick, but when he got back, he had some devastating news. And we want to find out what his story and what it's like to be on the Deadliest Catch. I've seen and interviewed a lot of people doing dangerous jobs, but the Bering Sea is the most treacherous, coldest sea in the country, or in the world for that matter. And being in Alaska, these guys put their life on the line to make money. Because when you can't make a mistake, as you saw the clip as we promoted to come on, that was just a practice. So when you go over in the Bering Sea, we're looking at you have maybe 10 minutes to live. Could I do it? Absolutely not. Most people can't do it. So, I don't get it. I mean, it's a living. Personally, I wouldn't want to live like that. But these guys are making a tremendous amount of money. But when you go out, you never know when you're coming back. Now, as a producer and cameraman, that takes a whole nother meaning, because you're out there. These guys are up 30, 40, 50 hours and no sleep. Now, my thing is, when you're doing a job like that, you want to be well rested. But these guys get on the grind and they have to catch crab. And catching crab and you fatigue, one slip up can cost you your life. Now, when Matt calls in, we want to talk to him about some of the problems that the cameramen, the producers, and more importantly, you know what? Let's talk about the people who are in what we call the chase boat or the helicopter. They're in the thick of the mix too. So what is it with them? And what even wants to make a producer? Now, as I'm a producer, and there's some jobs that I'll take, some jobs that I won't take. But a job like that it's a risky job. Even you go out there, you may not come back. So we'll see what Matt has to say. Matt Fahey, if you can Google him. He's done a lot of things. I think he's won an Emmy for the Deadliest Catch. I mean, I can imagine what it's like to even prep, to do pre-production for something like that. So, he's going to talk to us about that too. He's going to talk to us about what happened when he was on the boat. And I don't even think when he got sick, I don't even think they called the Coast Guard. I think the boat just turned around and came in, and he went to the doctor. I've seen this show. I followed this show for the last 5 or 6 years. It's been on a while. And it's a very interesting show because people do die. This is a real life. This is what we call a reality show, because people do die. People die on that show. And people have died on that show. Some of the owners of the boat have died. You go out, you don't come back. So, and later on during the show, if you have any questions, you can always Facebook me with the questions. Or you can call in. We'll put a number up, and you can call and ask Matt questions. Matt should be in right about now. I'm not sure if he's on the line yet. Is he on the line yet, guys? Anyway, so The Deadliest Catch, if you haven't watched The Deadliest Catch, I think you should at least watch one episode. One episode, because I watched it. It's like one episode, you're hooked, you know? And being on the Bering Sea, I don't, if some of you guys don't know what the Bering Sea is, it's in Alaska and up towards Russia. It is cold. It is cold. Most people don't go out on the Bering Sea for fun. They go out on the Bering Sea to fish. And like these guys go out weeks at a time. Like we're talking maybe 6, 8 weeks, you know, for all types of different crab. The crabs that you eat in restaurants come from Alaska. These king crabs, blue crabs, all kinds of crabs, all kind of crabs that the Bering Sea gives you guys in America, the lower 48, eat. And they put their lives on the line. Fortunately enough, I don't eat seafood, so I wouldn't know what a crab tastes like after one time. So, and I'm allergic to it. But these guys, and another question I always wanted to ask these guys, being around seafood that much, do you even eat it? You know? So, I don't know. I don't think I would. I don't think I would eat. I think, okay. I think we're gonna, until he calls in, we're gonna run some segments of The Deadliest Catch. So maybe you guys can look at some of the segments and catch it if you have not watched it. So don't go anywhere. Sit right there. Don't touch that remote. We'll be right back. We're going to go to a clip, if I'm correct. Anyway, don't go anywhere. We got Matt Fahey from The Deadliest Catch, the producer. He will be with us. I think he had a problem calling in. So we're trying to get that straight. We got the director trying to pull up a clip so you guys can watch The Deadliest Catch. And remember, until he pulls up a clip, remember the 29th through the 31st of May 29th. Here we go.
With each passing minute, Derek's anger rises.
What the after 2.5 hours, Jake?
Oh, we were only gone for about an hour.
No, more like 2.5, man.
Oh, we were busy. It wasn't like we were mooching.
Okay. Where's Steve at? Well, 2.5 hours later, the mechanic went to lunch.
I don't even want to hear it. Don't even want to hear it. We ain't been gone no 2.5 hours either.
2. You know what? You know what?
What?
You want to be here or not? Huh?
Well, don't.
I've had enough of your.
Well, too bad.
You want to be here or not?
You
Huh?
want you?
Huh?
I'm not gonna.
I don't need
because
you.
I left.
I don't need you here.
Good. You want me to leave? I'll leave.
You know what? You don't even have enough self-respect to stick around for these guys.
Hey, we both left.
Do your
on
job.
our gear.
You got zero.
Come on, guys.
Huh? What the
is your problem?
You got no respect for anybody
I don't
or
have
yourself. It goes both ways, you have a little, you know.
Have a little what, Derek? We left for an hour and a half when we
Why don't you
got
let
here.
me know so the mechanic, when he walks off, he's going, hey, he goes, we need to put another head on here.
Well, good.
Okay, so could have got it for
When I
him.
left, everything was good.
Right, no, we'll do it tomorrow. Yeah, that's the way it always is. We'll get it tomorrow.
Hey,
Treat me with
stop.
respect. I want you to treat me with some respect so I can give it in return.
Will you guys please
That's
shake
what I
hands
want.
right now?
Phil's not here. He's dead, okay? I got hired to run this boat. Did I take care of you last year during
I'm
Opie's?
done with this.
Did you finish
I'm
the
done
season?
with this.
No. This isn't for the camera.
I'm tired of this.
What are you tired of?
Don't start shoving me around.
Come on, guys.
We're back. I think I got Mr. Fahey with us. Is he on the line, guys? Hello, Matt? We're having some technical difficulties. Matt, are you there? 212-757-1393. That is the number. So until then, you know, we're talking about, my name is Greg Lassiter. I'm the host of 30 Frames a Second. And if you just tuned in, today's guest, we hope, is Matt Fahey. He's an Emmy winner producer from the show called Deadliest Catch. Matt was out during a season of the show, and he got sick. He got really, really sick, and they had to bring him back in, and he's here, hopefully, to tell us his story. Are you there, Matt? We're experiencing some technical difficulties. But anyway, I don't want to give it away. I want Matt to tell his own story about what happened. It could have been really tragic, and it wasn't tragic. It could have been tragic. It was caught before it was tragic. And as you guys know, as a producer, we're not we're contract people. So that means we don't have all the luxuries of having the benefits as corporate America. So you are only as good as the last show you've done. Meaning that, you know what, you get no benefits. So if something happens to you, you're pretty much on your own. Producers, we make decent money. It depends on your show and the production company you're with and what you're doing. This show is a very dangerous, the show that he's doing was a very dangerous show. So to my knowledge, what they make, I don't think you could pay me personally enough money to even go out there and do that. You know, it takes a special kind of person to do that job. And, you know, go out and smell like fish and freeze and, you know, how much money is enough? I don't really know. You know, would you do it for $30,000 a month? I'm not sure. All right, so Matt's with us. Matt is with us right now. Matt, you there? Hey, Matt. I heard he's here. Guys, I apologize. This has never happened before, and you know, if you watched 30 frames a second, we normally don't have any technical difficulties, but we're having some technical difficulties. Maybe it's because he's calling from Alaska. I'm not real sure. Matt, are you with us yet? I'm not sure he's here. We're working on it. But anyway, these guys make anywhere, depends on the boat, anywhere between $20,000 and some $60,000 every time they go out. Now, they go out as much as 2 or 3 months at a time. Is that enough money? $60,000 and your life could be on the line? Could I do it? Again, no. I'm not made that way. I don't even eat fish. But these guys do it. Some of these guys have been doing that's all they know because their fathers have done it. And I want to talk to Matt about how he came about. Are you there, Matt?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, thank you, Matt. How are you today?
I'm good.
Good. Thanks for being on 30 frames a second. I apologize for the difficulties. Now, were you originally, well, give us a little bit background about being a producer, Matt.
Well, up until I got on the show, I was fairly amateur because I was just mostly working for myself and I got into film school. But I would say intermediate. I wasn't quite a pro then, but I kind of cut my teeth on that show. I mean, I didn't really know that much about producing until I got on the show. And so my history is that I was a river guide for, probably 20 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a good friend named Todd Stanley, who's one of the original producers on the show.
Mm-hmm.
And we were guides together, and I'd been bugging him to get me on the show for years, because that's kind of how you end up in the business is, it's who you know,
right,
or it's what you know.
Right.
And I'd hired him to do a job for me in Grand Canyon. I was doing some web videos for one of the outfitters there, hired him, and we had a great time. It was like a reunion after, I don't know, years of we hadn't worked together. And I was like, come on, dude, you got to get me on the show. So he's like, I got this project in California. If you come out there and spearhead it for me, I'll get you on the show. And so he did, and, he kind of, I've learned a lot of my own producing skills on my own, but he really set the basics for me. And
so
and
was it the Time Bandit you were originally on? It wasn't a Time Bandit that you were on when you first got out there, right?
No, the first boat I was on was the Cornelia Marie, and it was the season after Phil Harris had died.
Right.
And my friend Todd was pretty tight with Phil, and in fact, he shot most of the stuff that you ever see Phil on TV. And
now,
so when my first boat was when they had a new captain, this guy Derek, and he didn't really get along with the Harris boys, and it was pretty much an 18-day shout fest, and I was caught up in the middle of it, just stressed out and uncomfortable all the time. And after a while, it hit me. I was like, wow, if I'm uncomfortable, I'm probably doing my job.
Right. Now, my question to you, now, when you're on that, when they say you're part of the crew, you're living just like these guys are living, correct?
Oh, yeah, no, we're all living in a boat that is like the size of my apartment with, 9 to 7 people, guys. So.
Wow. So you pretty much have to coexist. Now, what makes this show, you got sick. Am I correct? You got sick when you were on one of the boats. Yeah,
and to tell the truth, I didn't actually feel sick as much as I had blood in my stool, essentially, and I didn't feel that bad other than just the usual, depression of being stuck inside a crappy boat with a bunch of dudes for a month.
Right, right.
But I...
Now you got sick. Which boat were you on when you got sick?
I was working on the Time Bandit, doing they did a Time Bandit special that year.
Right.
And I was in Shipyard with them, and that's when I first noticed a little blood. And then they put me on when we got to Dutch Harbor. They took me off that boat and put me on the Cape Caution with Wild Bill.
Right. That's where the Cape Caution with I can't think of the captain's name. He's a friend of yours. Right. Now, when you got back to Dutch Harbor, now you live in Dutch Harbor now, correct?
Actually, I do not. I was just looking at Facebook the other day, and somehow I had put that I live there. I don't. I live in Flagstaff, Arizona.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a big difference. That's a big difference.
I changed that, and anyways.
So you get back to Dutch Harbor. You go to the doctor, and what did the doctor say, Matt?
Well, I got the news, and it was a bad day.
It was bad news. Now, after you received the news that you were sick, Matt, did you go back on the boat, or what happened? What transpired then?
Well, it's a long story, but what happened was I was supposed to go shoot at the boat, and I went to where our production coordinator said the boat was, and it wasn't there. And I had already gone to the doctor, and I'd had lunch and a couple drinks, and then when I went there, the boat wasn't there, and supposedly it was. So Bill had supposedly called and said he wanted me back at the boat to shoot.
Right.
And our production coordinator basically you know, she just wanted me to go to the boat, so she lied to me. So then I show up there, and he's not there because he actually didn't call. And so I think all of a sudden he blew me off. So I'm like, well, if he's going to blow me off, I'm just, you know, if my time isn't worth, you know, anything, I'm just at his second call, and then he doesn't show up when I'm supposed to. So I was like, well, fine, I'm going to go get some more drinks, which I did.
Right.
And I got a lot. And then, you know, and then he came back. I think he was moving the boat to get fuel or something. But anyways, when they came back, I went back to the boat. And I show up, and I'm, you know, a little loaded, and I, you know, got to do my last shooting before I split. And I hadn't told him the news. And I wasn't really gonna either. I just was kind of like, you know, gonna go deal with it on my own. And
right.
And then he's all mad at me because he wants to be drunk, but he's got
Right.
work to do, you know.
Right.
So he starts throwing me under the bus on camera.
Right.
And I'm like, that's when we had our confrontation on TV, if you see, where I actually kind of like, I don't know how they got some of that footage, or at least like the sound bites, but I turned off the camera and we had a big shouting match, and
No, they got that. I think they got that on camera because he was really railing you one, and you just stood there, and all of a sudden you told him the news, and you flipped the script.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, that's where I must have left one of the cameras rolling.
Right.
Of it, but I was like, you know, I told him what was up and why I was, you know, upset, not having a good day, but I really wasn't planning on spilling the beans anyways. But so, yep, and then the next thing you know, me and my ass cancer are on TV.
Right, and like that particular show, I think it took your life. Did it take your life in a different direction, Matt?
Oh, absolutely.
Now, what made you want to even do the Deadliest Catch, knowing that you can go out there even not working, but you're working as a producer / cameraman, you could die.
Yeah.
What made you want to do that?
Complete disregard for my own safety, health, and well-being. No. I you know, I came to terms with it after my whole cancer deal and thought about it, and I was like, I think I have sort of a, not a death wish, but I'm kind of addicted to adrenaline.
Right, you're an adrenaline junkie.
That were, you know, outdoors, adventure. You know, I went to Afghanistan a couple years ago and worked on a show there, embedded with the Army. I went to South America and worked on a show called Deadliest Roads.
Right. Oh, right, I remember that.
Around the world, like rafting. I worked in Grand Canyon. And anyways, I think that's one of the things that drew me to it, besides the fact that I've always kind of been a storyteller.
Right.
And just the opportunity to make a living telling stories with, you know,
with a camera,
different set of tools besides my mouth.
Right. Right. Now, my question is, you know what kind of guys? Now, you're a fisherman is a different kind of guy, and you're not saying that that's their profession, but you're a professional. Now, what kind of resistance did you get when you went on the Time Bandit or the Cape Caution? You guys get a lot of resistance. Moreover, do you guys, as being on the boat, you have to do what the captain says? Like if the captain says, get him a cup of coffee, do you guys have to do that?
You know, I try to pretend at first or let the captains think they're the boss, you know?
Right.
But really when it comes down to it, if I'm not getting what I need, I'll get in their face about it and I'll make their life miserable since they're making mine miserable.
Right.
You know, it's, I mean, you don't want to just hop on the boat and be like, oh, I'm your boss. But, I mean, that's sort of the truth. I mean, when it comes down to it, when you need something to tell your story and they're resistant or it's just not a good soundbite or it's not, you know, say delivered in a complete sentence, you got to keep pushing them for what you need. And
right, but
so, yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, there was one behind the scenes years ago, I think it was in season 8, where Bill gets up in my face and he's yelling at me and he's like, "F you, Fahey!
Right.
Do this, need this!" And I had to actually put on my iPhone because I love showing off this moment where I just stood up to him and let him yell at me, and then as soon as he stopped yelling, he basically gave me the sound bites I needed.
Right, that you needed. But now my question is, in pre-production, and these guys know, the captains know that they participate in this show where there will be producers and cameramans in your face 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for as long as you're out there. So why is it for optics that they give you resistance, or because you see what I'm saying? You look at some of the clips, and I know again this is reality. You're saying, well, look, you're talking to the captain, and you say, well, look, you're trying to mic him or you're trying to do something, and he gives you resistance and he gets in your face. Is that for optics, or is it really like that?
Oh, no, it's really like that. I mean, there's some captains that, it's funny because they all want to look like a hero, and it's like some of them get it and a lot of them don't, but when you're trying to go, oh, well, look, you might have screwed up here, they don't want to talk to you,
Right.
And you're like, well, everybody wants to be a hero, no one wants to be a zero.
Right. Right. Now,
and I get it. I mean, I kind of did the hero to zero to hero myself, on TV with the, where Bill and he calls me out for being drunk, and I turned to the camera and looked at this kid, Mike, who was working with me, and I'm just like, congratulations. I'm making some behind-the-scenes footage here, 'cause
right.
I know. I do it all the time. I'm in people's grills, and I know when I'm making good TV. So all of a sudden when the camera's on me and all of a sudden the hot potato's been tossed to me, I realize that it's on camera and there's nothing I can do.
Now, would you consider this real reality or scripted somewhat reality?
Absolutely. I get that all the time, and it really is, as far as I know, the last real reality show.
Right, because you're out there in the mix, and I know you're dealing with different personalities, and there's a bazillion things going on. So when they say scripted, this is nothing scripted about this, because you're running 24/7, and these guys got to do their job and deal with the producers and the directors and the cameramen. So there's nothing scripted. You can't say, well, hold up, can we stop? Can you say that again? You see what I'm saying? So this is, I also agree that this is probably as close as you're going to get to a real reality show. Now, I hate to put you on the spot. The worst captain you work with. Who was that?
Oh, man. Oh, man.
Okay, well, let me rephrase that, Matt. The most difficult captain to work with, personality-wise, with you.
Let's see. How about if I do the opposite? I'll just name all the ones that have been easy to work with.
Okay, then we'll play process of elimination, then I can say it.
Okay.
All right. The best captain, the top captain.
I would say one of the best captains to work with for story would have to be Keith Colburn, and it's because he gets it. He realizes that story is happening all the time, and whether he likes it or not, he's part of it. He can be a little resistant, but he gets it. You don't have to explain anything, or you don't have to, every once in a while you have to, get him to repeat something, but for the most part, he's offering just the best sound bites ever.
Right.
And, this is one of my frustrations with Bill. Like, just say, okay, one time I was just a solo producer on a boat with him one year, and something would happen on deck, and I'm like, okay, I got to run upstairs and get, my sound bites from him on, what happened. And I come up the stairs, and I swear to God, he would give me, as I'm walking up to grab my camera, just the perfect soundbite on, man, that could have killed somebody. That was
Right.
that was close, you know, or something like that. And then I'd pick up my camera and I'd put it on him and I'd be like, what's up, Bill? And he'd start combing his hair and he'd say like, oh, well, you know, after 37 years in the Bering Sea, you know, I was never worried one bit.
Now,
but Bill's one of my favorites. We're tied. I love that guy.
right, he's actually a personal friend of yours, correct?
Yeah, you know, we call each other from time to time, and, you know, he called me, he called me when I was in the hospital after my surgery. He was one of the few people, like, he knew because I told him, and then I came home after surgery, and I hadn't even told my parents yet because I hadn't even got the results, which is kind of weird. But I didn't want it was like, you know, it was almost Thanksgiving, and I didn't want to just kind of put a poo-poo on my parents' Thanksgiving, so I waited until I got my results back to tell them. But Bill called me in the hospital, and he calls me from time to time, But yeah, he's a good one.
What about
Jonathan Hillstrand? I love Jonathan. He is like that guy has just the biggest heart, you know.
Right.
And
Now, you got. What about you? Didn't mention what's his name? The brothers, the Norwegian boys.
Oh, you know what? I've never been on their boat. And you know, Sig he's a piece of work. But I've never worked on his boat. We know each other, et cetera, et cetera. I absolutely adore all those guys on that boat.
Right.
Edgar is he's like the perfect reality subject because he's the same guy on camera that he is off camera.
Right.
And some people tend to ramble and they never end their sentences, and they just go right into the same thing but say it differently, and they just keep doing that and never pause.
Right.
He's one of those guys that just gives editors natural cuts.
Now, there was an incident on Keith's boat where he got into the face of one of the producers. I don't know if it was you, but he got into the face and he started pushing one of the producers.
Yeah, no, that's my friend Brad. Brad's a great guy. We keep in touch a lot, actually. And Brad actually came back this last season, too. He was on the Seabrook. And but he hadn't seen Keith since that incident. And that was both our first year on the show.
Right.
On both. And anyways, yeah, you know, I love Carper. He's a great guy. You still there?
Right, I'm still here. Go ahead. Yeah, sure.
And I love Keith too. Keith, he has a temper, and I mean, it's so funny because all the time he's trying to be your bro and a good guy, and he really is. And then all of a sudden he'll just
flip
blow
on
up at something, and then all of a sudden you're like, hey, guess what? We just made TV, and he's like, no, but I'm not that guy all the time.
But you know what's funny though, Matt, is that if you read the blogs and all the things that are going around about the Deadliest Catch, not too many people are real fond of Keith because he really comes off as he want to be badass and have no respect for his crew.
No, he absolutely respects his crew, and there's definitely I mean, he was definitely the guy who went through greenhorns like you wouldn't believe, and his crew definitely love him, and he loves them, and they all work really hard. I mean, if I had to pick my top fishermen in the whole fleet of Catch, probably 3 of them would be off the deck of that boat.
Really?
But there's also sort of a learning curve, and you know, I've worked in a lot of jobs like that where you get hazed, you know, and if you turn it back on them and haze them back, they grow to love you and respect you. But if you let it affect you and just put your head down and try to ignore it, they're just going to push harder. And not just on that boat, almost on any boat I've ever been on. But it's just sort of the way guys in jobs like that sort of, you know, push each other's buttons to see what makes you tick. And so,
but isn't that kind of asinine though, Matt? Because at one point they were all greenhorns.
Yeah, and almost every one of them went through the same sort of
hazing.
Hazing thing. It wasn't like they're gonna, spank them like in a fraternity, but they're definitely gonna give you a hard time, and it's sort of in a way like the military, like especially with Freddie. He had an incident of which I wasn't on the boat with him that year, but a friend of mine shot it, and where they were going to get mohawks, and this one kid refused, and if the guy would have just done it to get along, he never would have been on TV. Probably everything would have been fine.
Right.
But the more he sort of was resistant to it, the more Freddie lost respect for him, and then he started to get where he threw an octopus at him, and and I mean, I'm not. I guess in a way I'm kind of defending it, but
right?
Only just because. I mean, I've been through so many of those ringers that, like, when the comments come, it just kind of rolls off my back, and I'll look at them and just try and come out with a better put down,
right?
Just, because that's how you endear yourself to people like that. So.
Right. So now that where are you with your cancer right now, Matt?
I only have like a couple hours to live, so you're lucky you caught me.
Come on, Matt.
Okay, I'm kidding. Well, I went through treatment, and I have gotten, my blood test, and my oncologist said that I responded to treatment well, and my tumor markers look good, is what he said, and so it's just kind of keeping an eye on that, and,
How are you feeling?
I could stand to go for a long walk and get some exercise. I've been working.
Now, my question is,
good, but I definitely could use some exercise.
Do you ever think you'll go back on one of the boats again, Deadly Sketch?
I am hoping I never have to. I've got some other things in the works right now, and I'm hoping that I don't ever have to do that job again, because it's so unhealthy. You're out there, and you're stressed out, and you're not exercising, and you're eating
like crap.
Crappy food all the time.
Right. So, what's next for Matt Fahey?
I'm going to West Virginia on Friday. I'm casting a TV show that I sort of sold the idea, and and so I'm going out to cast it and see if I can't make it work. At least get people interested in the characters to where we can get a sizzle reel, then maybe make a pilot, and then turn it into.
Is it a reality show?
Yeah.
Really? So you're done with the Daily Sketch then, right?
I didn't say that. I just hope I am.
But Matt,
things don't work out so good, and wintertime comes, and I'm broke. If they threw like a big number at me,
right,
and I didn't have any other options, I'd probably maybe jump at it. But I used to just jump at it,
right?
And I'm usually the first one they call because they know I won't like negotiate stuff. So not anymore, man. I care too much about my health and well-being. I'm like, if you are going to try and kill me out there, you're going to pay for it.
You're going to pay me. But Matt, you wanted, you lived to go on that show. Was it everything that you thought it was, or was it nothing that you thought it was?
Wow, that's a good question. I don't remember how much of what my impression of it was, but I remember my friend Todd saying to me, he's like, dude, it's just like a river trip,
Right.
There's no women, and you're not camping on a beach, but you're with a bunch of people, and you're away from the rest of society for a long period of time, and you got to get along. In fact, there's quite a few producers on the show that come from a river background, and I think that, as my friend Todd said, you can teach people to produce and you can teach them to shoot, but you can't teach them to live in a crappy environment. You can't teach them to not get seasick. You can't teach them to get along with a bunch of dudes when you're in a floating prison.
Right. That's exactly what it is, and it's a special job for a special person, I would say, and they say they make a lot of money, but that's subjective, I think, because making a lot.
It absolutely is. You know, that's one thing that people say, wow, they make, you know, $50,000. And I'm like, yeah, but, you know, a third of that goes to taxes. Plus, you know, there's the, you know, I mean, you can spend so much money. I mean, I literally have seen people spend $900 in a night at the bar.
Right. That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah. And, you know, they have a high rate of alcoholism, a high rate of drug addiction, but yet they still go out and do this dangerous job.
Well, yeah, because drugs and alcohol are expensive. So, and then usually, I mean, it's kind of like the typical fisherman has like a bunch of kids, a couple of ex-wives or girlfriends, and a drug and or alcohol problem.
Wow.
Not all of them.
Wow.
But there's, I mean, you know, there's a lot of fishermen there that, you know, you never see or meet on the show. You know, there's a whole fleet of boats there, and you know, they're all good people. They tend to be, I think, similar to me, prone to ADD, and they like, you know, adventure and getting paid for it.
Right,
you know?
Right. So, Matt, are you still that adrenaline junkie that you were when you started?
You know, I probably not so much. I got offered a job in Siberia this summer, and I haven't taken it. And part of me is like, yeah, I love traveling and I love being, but this job is pretty challenging because it's, you know, you're not staying in a hotel. You're basically camping out, and and you're also making TV. So I'm not looking forward to mosquitoes the size of birds or setting up a tent and camp every night. But
yeah, that's pretty bad. So Matt, you know, what about when you got sick? You didn't have insurance, and how did they do fundraisers for you? Where are you? I hate to ask you this on TV. Financially, are you okay? How can people help? That kind of thing. How's that working out?
Well, I mean, you know, I had a bunch of money in the bank when it happened, and you know, I went into debt there for a while, and I've sort of crawled out of debt, and you know, my cousin and a bunch of my friends got together and family and helped with fundraising, etc. And so my main bill before I actually got what is essentially Obamacare was my surgery and my stay in the hospital was, you know, around probably $60,000.
Wow.
And so I had that on my, you know, I had that balance up until just a couple weeks ago, and they offered to, and I'd just been making payments on it, and I paid off a bunch of other health-related things besides that, and so with the money that was raised, with their offer of cutting my balance in half, I paid it off actually 2 weeks ago. So I don't owe the hospital anymore, but you know, now I'm kind of back down to where I was at like a couple of years before cancer, where, you know, I'm like, you know, just, you know, a little money in the bank to keep me you know, out of the poorhouse until my next job. So.
So in producing, people don't understand, you're only as good as the last job you've done. Correct? That's the only money you don't. What about residuals? Do you get residuals from Deadliest Catch at all?
Oh no, I wish, man. I wouldn't even be talking to you right now. I'd be on an island somewhere.
Matt, so how can everybody get a hold of you?
I have a website. It's dbrpro.com. It's my company is Down by the River Productions, because I mean, Matt Fahey, Matt Foley. If you're dyslexic, it looks like my name could be Matt Foley. I'm kind of chubby Irish guy. And I did actually live in a Vanagon down by a lot of different rivers, and that's where I came up with the name a long time ago. But
really,
anyway, DBR Pro. I have definitely deep roots in the river community, and
so you've been around water pretty much. You like that, the rivers, the ocean, Deadliest Catch. The Bering
Yeah.
Sea?
No, I've been a river guy. You know, I've been a river guy for 20 plus years now, and you know, I swam competitively.
Wow.
I grew up in Tucson, and all summer long I just spent it in the pool, and so, you know, I used to do be a lifeguard, and I pretty much anything water related. I used to surf a lot, and so, you know, people were always concerned when they hire you on catch that you're going to get seasick, because so many people do.
Right.
But I didn't. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that I've spent so much time being a water person. You know?
Wow. Well, Matt, I really appreciate you coming on our show, and I will call you after the show so I can see what other things you're up to. And thank you so much, because I know you're like 3 hours behind me. And when I called you this morning, I was afraid that I'd wake you up.
I was actually laying in bed, but I wasn't asleep. I was just kind of like,
who's calling me at 8 o'clock in the morning?
I forgot.
Right. Matt, thanks again, man, and I'll be in touch with you very soon.
Okay, thanks, Greg. Thanks for your interest.
Okay, take care.
All right, bye.
Bye. That was Matt Fahey. He's a producer. He was one of the producers on The Deadliest Catch. And Matt was on the boat. And I'm going to just give it to you in short if you guys didn't hear. He was on the boat, and he got kind of sick. You know, he went to the bathroom and things weren't right. They took him back to Dutch Harbor, and he found out he had cancer. So he's right now, you know, feeling well, and he was here to tell his story. I'm going to take a break, and I'm going to be right back, and I'll tell you what's in store for next week, or what do we have coming up. So, guys, take it away. Okay. I guess, see, we've been having a bit of a difficult. Here we go. That was Matt Fahey going down the river at, I think it was in Colorado. From the 29th of May through June 1st, I'm the host and moderator of the People's Film Festival here in New York. And I guess you guys should check it out. You want to go to the peoplesfilmfestival.com and check it out. On the 23rd of May, I'm hosting a happy hour at the Metropolitan Art Gallery on 82nd and 3rd for everybody to come out. I have a featured artist there, Lorna Chadner. I think I pronounced her name right. She's a UK artist. You can find her on Facebook. I think it's Chadney, C-H-A-N-D-Y, or D-A. And then June 29th, I have a special event that if you're a friend of mine, you will definitely get an invitation. So definitely check us out. I want to thank my crew, Nat Wood, who is one of the most amazing directors I've ever worked with. Plus, this is his show, of course. Sheila Spellberry, thank you very much. Sierra Love, thank you. I have one of the most amazing crews ever. So I want to thank everybody for helping us. I'm going to go to commercial, and we'll be right back.
They say the 7th grader was unfairly benched from her basketball game. Her mother says the girl was forced to sit the game out to punish her for using the Menominee language at school.
Win in a fight between Thor and Superman.
I feel like I'm being set up for some kind of prank.
We wasn't in it, so we just walk around and see what happens.
You know, if you still like around him, you still
get the same arrested. Well, you didn't.
No, I didn't know that. I did not know that. Because the cops came to him, I moved to 3 cars down. And that cop came behind me, and I'm like, yo, I didn't even do anything.
ପୃଥିବୀ ଆମରଟା ବୋଲି କହୁଛି ସରକାର ହଉ କି ଯେ ହଉ ହେଲେ ସୂର୍ଯ୍ୟକୁ ମୋରଟା ବୋଲି କହୁ ଚନ୍ଦ୍ରକୁ ଆମରଟା ବୋଲି କହୁ
What the
Who are you?
I'm his grandson. Who are you?
Is your grandfather Theo?
Yes.
Avec le premier consul, il est l'homme le plus extraordinaire que j'ai rencontré. Force étrange, c'est pas pareil.
He loves me and the girls. You know that.
I can assure you that everything is fine in my home. Trust me.
Look at me. Love doesn't hurt.
Where the hell are you?
All you need to know is that we're safe.
Listen here, you bastard. If you come over here and put your hands on any of my family again, I will blow a cap off in your...
I don't know how to explain this to you. But there's a problem.
You don't care about me. You don't care about that fight that my daddy got me either. You just want to get good with my mommy. That's all you want to do. You just want to help me so my mommy will love you even more.